This may come as a surprise to some of you, but I live in Canada. And as a result, I grew up both with American cartoons, like SpongeBob, and Canadian cartoons, like Reboot. A while ago, a really awesome YouTuber named NitroRad made a video talking about Canadian cartoons he grew up with as a response to the growing cynicism around Canadian animation, and I thought, yeah, let's do that. So yeah, this is a response to that video, so go give it a watch. Come back here. Wait, come back here. Watch this one first, please. So, where to start? Well, how about with a personal favorite of mine? Martin Mystery. Martin Mystery was a horror-themed cartoon made by Marathon Media Group, Rye Fiction, and Image Entertainment Corporation. It's actually a Canadian, Italian, and French co-production, so it's not strictly a Canadian cartoon. Great start, Fox. The show starred Sam Vincent, who you might know as Double D from Ed, Edd n Eddy, Kelly Sheridan, Songo from Inuyasha, Dale Wilson, Captain Gridiron from G.I. Joe, and Terrell Rothery, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who was Dr. Janet Fraser from Stargate S1 as the core cast, and had this slick anime-inspired art style. The show was based on an Italian comic series called Martin Mystery, again hoping I'm pronouncing that right, which is about an adventurer and art historian living in New York as he solves unusual mysteries. The cartoon was about 16-year-old Martin Mystery attending Torrington Academy in Quebec with his stepsister Diane and his friend a caveman named Java as they worked for a paranormal investigation agency called the Center with their alien friend named Billy and their boss literally named Mom. Yeah, it was a pretty big departure, but it managed to be pretty sick in its own right. The monster and alien designs were super cool and at times could be legitimately creepy, especially for a kid show, aided of course by the surprisingly detailed art and character designs. This show looked fantastic. Oh, and that theme song was rad. Marathon actually produced a few different shows with similar anime-inspired art styles. Totally Spies was pretty good, even crossing over with Martin Mystery one time. Team Galaxy was The Amazing Spies was bad. And the less said about other stuff like Monster Buster Club, the better. But Martin Mystery was easily the best of them all. I guess, keeping in with this theme of anime-inspired co-produced cartoons, God, that intro alone is worthy of an award. This is Cyber 6, a crowning achievement of Canadian animation. The show was produced by the oh-so-creatively named Network of Animation, located in Vancouver, and animated by legendary Japanese animation studio TMS. It was based on a dark, gothy Argentinian comic series by the same name, and was closer in content and appearance to its source material than Martin Mystery was. While, obviously, the darker themes were toned down from the comic, the prostitutes, the violence, and the neo-Nazis, it still had this edginess that a lot of other cartoons at the time didn't really have. The show was about the titular Cyber 6, a genetic experiment and superhero who during the day disguises herself as male teacher Adrian Seidelman. She is accompanied in her fights against the experiments of evil Dr. Von Richter and his son Jose by her companions, love interest and fellow teacher Lucas Amato, her younger brother who is resurrected as a panther, it makes more sense in the show, Data 7, and streetwise ruffian with a heart of gold Julian. I remember it came on pretty late, just a bit before the adult cartoon started playing. So, assuming I didn't stay up past my bedtime, it would probably be the last thing my brother and I watched before bed. Well, that or the Ripping Friends, depended on the day. And it would always leave my mind aflutter with new ideas inspired by moments from that day's episode. It's a really nostalgic show for me, one that always manages to bring a tear to my eye. We've got one more stop in this little trip down Fox's obscure memory lane. And while I thought of a few shows to put on here, Kid Paddle, Being Ian, 16, Yvonne of the Yukon, I said, screw it. Let's go with a show that made me want to go back to this idea to begin with.
This is the Evergreen Forest. Quiet, peaceful, serene. That is until Bert Raccoon wakes up.
Yep, probably the most well-known Canadian-made cartoon, except for maybe Total Drama, and many a child's furry awakening. The Raccoons was created by Kevin Gillis and the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, or CBC for short. The show focused on Bert, Ralph, and Melissa Raccoon, no relation, Cedric Sneer, Cedric's girlfriend, Sophia Tutu, Schaefer the dog, and Brew the puppy, as they foil the plans of billionaire tyrant and, I guess, land developer Cyril Sneer. Actually, Cyril is probably one of the most fondly remembered and well-developed parts of the show. As the series progresses, he becomes less of an Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog Robotnik style villain and more of a sympathetic anti-hero character, going from locking up his son in a dungeon, yes really, to retiring in the finale and leaving his son his business. In fact, I'd say most of the cast is pretty likable and distinctive too, from loud, eccentric, and overconfident Bert Raccoon to nervous and mousy Cedric. The only real exception I'd say is Sophia. She's a pretty bland, safe character with an unusual design for the aesthetic of the show, with her massive head and tiny, curvy body, and I don't want to look at her anymore. Weird Candy Kong aardvark. Ugh. The show is honestly kinda weird looking back. It's an environmental show, but the land developer was a sympathetic character. There were these humans really early on who I guess Brew belonged to, which raises all sorts of questions on its own. But then 6 episodes in or something, they vanish. Sophia stops making regular appearances in favor of 2 more raccoons named Bentley and Lisa. The later of whom, by the way, is voiced by Lisa Lougheed, the singer for the show's amazing end theme. Still, despite its unusual nature, it's a fun, charming show, just like the other shows mentioned here. I remember watching the Raccoons when I was really young, and I'm pleasantly surprised it still holds up, even if at times it's a touch juvenile, unsurprisingly. I suppose that's about it for now, at least. There's so many good and bad Canadian cartoons I'd love to talk about in the future, but for now, these 3 will do. What kind of cartoons did you guys grow up with? I'd love to read about them in the comments below. Oh, and bonus points for me for never making a Johnny Test whip crack joke. Aw, damn it! Whew, that one was a doozy. Sorry it took so long for this one to come out. Not only was it a bit more ambitious than my previous episodes, but I also got sick, so, that's fun. And can you totally believe that I completely and utterly and honestly messed up not referencing Johnny Test whip cracking? That totally wasn't part of the script. Man, oh man, did I screw that up big time. Anyway, I think that's about it for now. Special thanks to NitroRad for making the original video of this, and all the people who made their own responses. I just figured this would be a fun thing to do. I've been thinking a lot about cartoons I grew up with recently, especially since I actually started watching the Raccoons again, just for the heck of it. All that quarantine stuff, just sometimes you just have to find things to pass the time. Anyway, I suppose that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to do all that other usual YouTuber stuff, like, comment, subscribe, etc., etc. Love you all. Bye.